The sun was dipping low over the city, spilling amber light across the cracked sidewalks and casting long shadows between the tall, narrow buildings. Ishani paused at the entrance of the modest wedding hall, her heart throbbing as though it would burst from her chest. She clutched the envelope in her hand, the invitation, or rather the summons to a fate she never asked for. She had not wanted this life. Not the whispered rumors behind closed doors. Not the pressure to marry into wealth. Not the expectation that she would forever be beholden to others. Yet here she stood, in her simple dress, trembling at the threshold of a new beginning, or perhaps, a tragic end. A voice whispered behind her. "Ishani, are you ready?" She turned. Her older brother Ramon was there, leaning against the doorway, his face a mask of tension and regret. His wedding attire hung awkwardly on him, as though he were a stranger in his own skin. I don't know," she whispered. Stumbling, he stepped forward. "You have to do this. Mother and father have decided. The alliance, the marriage, it's what must happen." Ishani's lip quivered. "But you promised me you'd protect me. You said you would never let me be forced into something I hate." Ramon's eyes flickered with guilt. "I know, but times have changed. Our family is in crisis. The debts, the losses, we have no choice." Tears pricked at Ishani's eyes. She glanced at the envelope in her hand. The name of the groom, and the stern instructions appear at the hall. No excuses will be accepted. Behind them, the hall doors creaked open. A muffled commotion could be heard. Soft laughter, hushed voices, the rustle of silk and taffeta. Inside, guests had gathered. Lamps glowed. Music floated through the air, faint but insistent. Ramon took a step back, bowed his head. "I'm sorry, Ishani." And with that, he slipped away, disappearing into the shadows of the hall. Ishani stood frozen. Slowly, painfully, she gathered the courage to step inside. The hall was chandeliers hung like jewels, and white drapery billowed against the walls. Guests in elegant dresses and suits lined the seating aisles. A red carpet stretched forward, flanked by columns of white roses. At the end, beneath a floral gazebo, stood a tall, handsome man in a tailored suit. His face was serene, composed, but his eyes flickered with something surprise. Anticipation, a spark of uncertainty. Ishani's breath caught. Her pulse thundered in her ears. She advanced, each step echoing. She passed rows of silent faces, some sympathetic, some curious, some cold, until she stood before him. He bowed slightly. "Ishani," he said, voice smooth, controlled. "Thank you for coming." She swallowed. "You must mistake me," she said. I never agreed to this." He nodded. "I know many things have been decided without your consent, but here we are. The ceremony will begin soon." Ishani's knees threatened to give way. She looked at him. The groom, his eyes held something she could not read. Pity, determination, regret. "I don't wish this," she whispered. He reached out a hand. "Come, sit here beside me. Let us speak before anything is done." She hesitated. Then, with trembling limbs, she moved forward, took the seat beside him at the decorated dais. The officiant appeared, clearing his throat. He opened a thick book, his eyes scanning. The hall fell silent. In that hush, Ishani's mind raced. Why was she here? What had her brother done? And most of all, who was this man she was to marry? And what would happen next? The officiant began. "Dearly beloved, we are gathered here today." As the words washed over her, Ishani felt her soul shrink. But deep inside, a spark of defiance flickered. She would not surrender without understanding. She would not let her life slip away passively. And so, as the ceremony proceeded, she resolved, once this ordeal was over, she would seek answers. She would confront Ramon. She would demand the truth, and she would somehow reclaim her life. The officiant's voice droned on, every syllable feeling like a chain locking Ishani tighter into a future she did not choose. Guests leaned forward, eyes gleaming with curiosity. Some whispered, some smirked. Others watched in stiff silence. Ishani's hands trembled in her lap, her knuckles white as she clutched the folds of her dress. She couldn't lift her head, couldn't meet the gaze of the man beside her, the stranger who was about to become her husband. But then, she felt it, a hand warm, firm brushing against hers. She flinched, instinctively pulling back. But the man leaned closer and whispered low enough that only she could hear, "Do not fear. This is not what it seems." Her head jerked slightly, her eyes darting to his. His expression was calm, almost stoic, but in his eyes, she saw something unusual. Not coldness, not control, but compassion. The officiant's voice rose, preparing the couple for the vows. Ishani's chest tightened. This was it. She was about to lose herself forever. "Wait," she whispered hoarsely. "What do you mean? What isn't what it seems?" The man, her groom, glanced toward the audience, then back at her. He leaned closer again, his words rushing out between clenched teeth. "Your brother abandoned this arrangement at the last moment. I stepped in, not to bind you, but to protect you." Ishani blinked, her breath catching. "Protect me? From what?" Before he could answer, the officiant cleared his throat. "And now, we shall hear the vows. Please rise." Gasps and murmurs rippled through the hall. Ishani's knees buckled as she stood, her heart hammered like a drum. The man, tall, composed, turned fully toward her. "Do you, Ishani, take this man to be your eye?" Her lips trembled. She couldn't say it. She wouldn't. Her throat closed, no words emerging. The officiant's face wrinkled with confusion. A tense silence settled over the room. The crowd stirred uneasily. Then the man raised his hand. "Enough," he said firmly. His deep voice carried authority, silencing the room. "This ceremony will not proceed." Gasps erupted. Someone shouted, "What is this outrage?" Another muttered angrily. The man turned to Ishani, his expression softening. "You do not wish this, and I will not force you. Come." He extended his hand again. For a moment, Ishani stood frozen, her mind a storm. If she took his hand, she would be defying everything. Her parents, her brother, the expectations of the entire community. But if she refused, she would be trapped forever. Her trembling fingers reached out, brushed his palm, and for the first time that day, she felt a glimmer of safety. The hall exploded into chaos. Voices shouted, elders rose from their seats. Her parents gasped in horror, but Ishani, clutching the hand of the man she hardly knew, stepped off the dais and out of the circle of roses. They moved quickly, pushing through the stunned crowd. A side door creaked open, spilling them into the quiet night. The heavy air inside was replaced with the cool whisper of the evening breeze. For a moment, Ishani gulped the air greedily, like a drowning soul breaking the surface of water. She spun toward him. "Who are you? Why did you do this?" The man's jaw tightened. He glanced around, ensuring no one had followed them, then said, "My name is Arjun, and I did this because your brother begged me." Her heart stuttered. "Ramon, he abandoned me." Arjun shook his head. "No, he wanted to protect you, but he could not bear the weight of this marriage. Your family owes debts. Powerful people demanded repayment. The original arrangement was a trap. You were to be bartered, sold into misery." Ishani's breath hitched. "And you?" "I stepped in," Arjun said quietly, "to shield you. I am wealthy enough to absorb your family's debts, but I will not bind you if you do not wish it. I will give you a choice." The world tilted around her. Her knees weakened. She had prepared herself for slavery disguised as marriage, but this man was offering her something unheard of. "A choice," she whispered, hardly believing. Arjun nodded. "You may walk away now. I will cover what is owed, or, if you trust me, if you wish, we may forge something together. Not forced, not hollow, but real." The street was silent. Somewhere far away, a bell tolled. Ishani stared at him, her mind whirling. This man, this stranger, had just shattered the walls of her prison, for the first time in years. She felt the faint stirrings of hope. But hope, she knew, was fragile, and behind hope often lurked danger. Ishani's mind spun as she walked beside Arjun, their hurried steps echoing in the narrow alley beyond the hall. Behind them, muffled shouts still echoed from the wedding chamber. She could almost hear her mother's wailing voice, her father's sharp rebuke, the elders demanding explanations. Her family had always spoken of honor, duty, and tradition, but she now knew the truth. She had been nothing more than a bargaining chip. "Stop!" Ishani pulled her hand from Arjun's grasp. Her chest heaved, her voice cracking. "Why are you doing this? No one, no stranger would sacrifice wealth for someone they don't even know." Arjun stopped, turned to face her. The dim street lamp overhead carved shadows across his sharp features, but his eyes softened as he studied her. "You think I am a stranger?" he said calmly. "But our paths crossed long ago. You just don't remember." Her brow furrowed. "I don't understand." Arjun took a slow breath. "When you were 16, there was a fire at the school. The gates were locked. You helped guide the younger children out through a broken wall in the garden. Do you remember?" Ishani blinked, memories flooding back. The choking smoke, the panicked cries, the searing heat. Yes, she had helped the children escape, though she herself had barely survived. But what did that? "I was there," Arjun continued. "My younger sister was one of those children. You saved her life." Ishani's lips parted, shock rippling through her. See,